Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of If Margaritas Could Talk, the Over 40 Chronicles podcast. I'm your host, Tracy Black, and today my guest co-host, Charity Jones, is joining me for the month of May. And today, of course, as Kira is taking some time off, today is, guess what, all about the journey of life. And if you could give yourself advice to your younger self, what would it be? So let's get crazy and make a margarita or a beverage of choice, and let's jump right in. So, hi, Charity. How are you? Welcome back.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Any plans for the weekend?
Yes, I'm going to a family dinner tonight. We've got 3 birthdays, a brother, sister-in-law, my mom, and we're celebrating Mother's Day. So a big
Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Really? It's Mother's Day?
I think it's next weekend.
Next weekend. Right.
Yeah.
So you're doing it early, right?
Yes, we're doing a combo of all the things.
Nothing wrong with a little combo. Kill many birds with one stone. All right. Okay,
Yeah.
So here's the funny thing. We're talking about if you could tell your younger self something today. So we're talking about kind of like life lessons, crazy things we've done. And I just sort of chuckle because one day I'm just, working away, I'm doing a couple things and this just pops into my head. And I'm, if you could kind of go back in time, if you could take a time trip back, what would that look like? Right. The one thing I was going to say to kick it off is like, if I could tell my younger self one thing, it would be tell her to stop flirting with men who play acoustic guitar because they're not sensitive. They're unemployed.
Well, and half the times they just want your attention all the time.
Right.
Like, can I play you this song? And you're like, eh. And they're like, I'm going to play you a song.
Been there, done that. Took the train, jumped off. It was all good. What about you? What could you tell your younger self?
Goodness, to not worry about what everybody thinks and to just do it all. Like, embarrass yourself as much as you can. Do all the fun things. Don't care what anyone thinks,
Cringe relationships. Okay, we're talking about everything from like bad hair choices because we've all done that. I remember it was grade 8. What happened when you look back at the pictures?
I think in 3rd grade, I had a mullet, like curly on top, tight curls on top and waves down the back and bangs. I don't know what my mother was thinking or if I chose that. I don't know, but it was either 2nd or 3rd grade. It's terrible. Terrible.
You know what's funny? The mullet sitch is like back now. My son had a mullet. He sort of got that mini mullet sort of cut where it's this trendy sort of, it's faded a little bit and it looked really, really good. But when I see it on young kids, it kind of gives me like Joe Dirt vibes. Like, don't do it. Don't put mullets on your kids.
I know. I was thinking, what was my mom doing to me?
So you have natural curly hair. I have natural curly hair. Mine's like Richard Simmons. Like it's tight, but it's as I've gotten older, it's a lot more relaxed now. But I straighten it, so it's been straightened pretty much my whole life. The one thing that's funny is, did you ever try to like crimp it? So having naturally curly hair, did you do the crimping situation?
Yeah, I loved the crimper, but my hair was not curly really until puberty. It got wavy, and then after I had kids, it got more curly. And
really?
So, yeah, because I can remember trying to scrunch my hair and put all the mousse and all the things in it in junior high, and my mom being like, "You do not have curly hair. Stop doing that. You look terrible," And I wanted curly hair so bad, and then I feel like after hormones and then kids, yeah. In fact, I feel like my hair changed color with pregnancy.
Really?
Did you feel like yours did? Yeah. In the hospital pictures, it has like a silverish hue. Like it didn't look very healthy. I don't know if the kids sucked all the nutrients out of my body and hair, but I feel like my hair was totally different after puberty and pregnancy.
That's funny. I'm trying to think back. No, I think my hair was actually curlier. Again, I've always straightened my hair ever since I was back in the day when I turned, I want to say like 18, I started seeing there was the thing where you could go and get your hair chemically straightened. Of course, your legal age is 21 in the US. In Canada here, it's 18. Well, some provinces it's actually 19. But yeah, I sort of chuckle because I go, Oh, yeah, it's a great idea. I'm going to do the chemical straightening thing, right? So you go do it and you're there for how long and your hair is perfectly poker straight. You're like, holy cow, this is amazing. And then I think there at one point, I was girlfriends, my best friend, she's a Tracy as well. And we grew up, we've known each other since we were like 4 or 5 years old. We used to live next door to one another. And we hit that sweet spot in like teenage years when then we would start to iron our hair.
Did you actually use the iron?
Use the iron. My head was on the ironing board and she's going to town using the iron. Can you imagine your children doing that now?
They would have burned each other for sure.
Right?
There's no way. Yeah, I can remember some of my friends doing that. I didn't get into the iron. I always did the curling iron, which kind of straightened it and gave it that curl at the end. But I did love the crimper. Yeah, totally loved the crimper.
It was my Madonna phase what year was that? Like in the 80s. So I guess it would have been grade 7, grade 8, probably like whatever, 14 years old, 13, 14. And I was a huge Madonna fan. So everything was Madonna. I tried to be Madonna. I dressed like Madonna, like, the trend, right? So you're going through it and you're just doing the crimping and you got the lace gloves and all the things. And the bow in your hair. I caught some old photos of myself. You'll have to check it out on my Facebook. There's an old photo in I want to say 1987 or 1987, 1988, 89, somewhere around there. There's a photo of me with really super curly hair where I still have a bow in my hair. I'm like, what is going on with that? Why did nobody say, hey, maybe knock it off with the bow? So Tracy, if you could tell your younger self, don't do the bows in your hair when you're friggin' 19 years old, 20. And I'm like,
I feel like the bows came back a few years ago, that even like the young adults, well, I guess like you're saying, they were wearing bows. Yeah, it was kind of crazy.
Agreed. And the mullet sitch. All right, here we go. So, but something is really interesting. So we're always thinking about going back and telling our younger selves. I don't know about you, but is there something that you're scared of? Anything that you're scared of at all? Like something you did when you were younger that now still you have a little bit of fear of as an adult?
Like I was scared when I was younger and I still have the fear?
Yeah. Like you remember that moment, like going back in time.
Well, I was talking about this on stage the other day. I can remember being a young child, under 5, and we didn't wear seatbelts yet. And I can remember getting in a wreck and sliding on the ice. We were coming to a stop sign. I was in the back seat, and we were right by the school. I just remember the school being there. And we got in a wreck, and I flew into the floorboard. And but I was talking about that the other day, that we didn't even have seatbelts back then. And I was looking it up, and seatbelts weren't a law here, well, in Arkansas in the southern United States until like the early 90s. What about in Canada? Was it the same?
Same thing. I don't ever remember my younger sister being in a car seat or myself.
Really?
Right? Never. And then, you have your kids. My firstborn was 91. So of course she's in a car seat because at that point they had to go home from the hospital in a car seat. Or no. Yes, they did. And then when I had my son, 7 years later, it was mandatory that you had to take them home in a car seat. And you look back in the 70s at the car seats they had back then, sort of quote unquote car seats. And what a nightmare. It looked like, they look like those swings, in the park with the straps that are made out of tire. And you just put the legs in and you can never get out of them. Do you remember those?
Yes. They're like a little bucket with the holes for the legs.
The metal, it's got this like metal square around it, like a high chair. And you're like, this is not acceptable car seat safety equipment. Oh my gosh.
I feel like it still gives me nightmares from driving on the ice. It can barely snow and I'll stay home.
Really?
I don't want to. Yeah. I mean, unless someone else is driving, I think I'm better, but I don't want to do it.
Yes.
But maybe it stems from being young with no car seat.
Of course. There's a little trauma there for sure. In terms of movies, I don't like horror films. And I'll tell you the specific reason why. I was at my grandparents' house. They let me watch this movie. I think it was like I might have been about 7 or 8 one night. And I'm watching this movie at their house and they've gone to bed. And it was called the Trilogy of Terror. And it was a movie that was filmed in 1975, or they released it in 1975. And it was about this doll. It was like a sort of African face sort of looking doll that had a necklace around it. If the doll got knocked over, then the necklace fell off. The doll became alive. And the lady who owned this doll, she's on the couch and she notices the doll's missing and it's gone. And the next thing it's trying to kill her, it had like a spear, because it was like like a tribal doll. So it had this spear and it was trying to stab her through the underneath of the Chesterfield. And then she tried to drown it in the bathtub, and like it was chasing her. She couldn't find. It was the freakiest movie. Guess what? To this day, I don't like dolls. Like I don't like these tribally. If I see them in the store, I freak out. Like I'm like, this is who traumatizes a kid and lets a kid watch when they're 8 years old or 7 or 8 years old? What? Yeah. So younger self, don't watch it. That's what I would say. Do not watch it. No,
it makes me think of Pet Sematary. I think Pet Sematary was probably one of the first scary movies I watched. And I can remember seeing parts of Chucky and thinking, nope, not for me. That movie you were talking about reminds me of Chucky. And Poltergeist. Everybody was watching Poltergeist. Yes. I did not watch Poltergeist.
And again, a younger self, don't sit in your friend's basement and watch Poltergeist. Don't do it. You're traumatized for like ever.
I think I saw scenes. My brothers were always watching things, but yeah, I've never liked scary movies. And you were talking about fears from childhood. You know, what's funny is I'm terrified of heights now. I have nightmares about heights. I don't like heights. But as a kid, I bungee jumped and did the giant swing thing that they put you in you're like rolled up in a burrito and then, taken back and let go, and did all those. Love the roller coasters. I have no desire now. I don't know if it's just menopause or if it's because I've been injured before and anything that hurts me now is really scary.
Let's talk about the injuries as a whole other friggin' podcast. Holy Moses. Well, I agree with you on that. Yeah, you do all the things. You go to the fairs, the roller coasters. And when was it? About, I want to say maybe 12 years ago-ish, 12 or 13 years ago, my husband and I went to a fair that was happening in our town. And we get on that go faster thing it spins sort of, and it's in and out and it spins really, really fast. It was going Mach. He goes, I think we're going to get flown off of this. He's screaming. I'm screaming. Guess what happened? At some point, I was like, this is no fun anymore. I need to get off. Like I'm not having fun. We're in our mid 40s and this is no fun anymore. I need to get off. So we finally get off of it. I had, not a word of a lie, vertigo for 4 days. I was messed up. And so was he. Our whole equilibrium was all the, I felt like I was still spinning every time I laid down. Talk about trippy. Yeah. Crazy.
It completely messed up your inner ear.
Yeah. So younger self, just go there, play the games, eat the donuts, get on the ride. That's what I say.
Do all the rides because you're going to not want to do them later. If you want to experience that in your life, do them young. Yeah.
True. Do them young.
Yeah.
Do them young. Because when you get older, that's not the plan. Your body has other plans.
That being thrown around like that is no longer joyous. There's no joy in it anymore.
I'm like, bumper cars, I'm good. Let's go. Let's do the whatever freaky mirror situation, whatever. Let's do the easy stuff.
I'm down for the mirrors. The bumper cars makes me think I might hurt my neck.
True.
That sounds so old.
We're talking about we're showing our age when we're like, no, we can't do the bumper cars.
Do them while you're young. Do them while you're young.
Do them when you're young. Enjoy it all because when you get older, it's not so fun. So I guess to my younger self, I had the travel bug kind of early on in my life. But one thing that I did do, which I would say, I took a trip to meet a guy that I had met online. And I went to Fort Lauderdale to meet him. And in the first, we had been speaking for, I don't know, I want to say maybe, I don't know, a month. And then I said, yeah, I'll come out, book a flight, get out there. First 5 minutes meeting him, we were in a restaurant and I was annoyed. And I decided to go to the bathroom and I skipped out the back. And so my younger self, don't take the trip. Don't be enticed by the whatever is going on out in the world of the land of dating online. Don't do it. Don't take that risk. But I did have a good time in Miami. I spent the rest of the week by myself. I had a hotel. He's like, where did you go? And I'm like, I got lost.
Room.
I got lost and took an exit and went to my hotel. Crazy. Don't do it. Younger self, it's not worth it. Don't do it. It was worth it in the trip ways, but it wasn't worth it in the, you think you're getting one thing when you're actually getting another. So don't do it.
Yeah.
Any situation stories like that for you?
Well, yeah, I would tell my younger self, if it seems too good to be true, it is. You know,
Yeah.
Oh gosh, man, I went to Belize one time for a wedding with some friends, and I met a young, handsome man, tall Rastafarian, gorgeous scuba diver tour guide.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he thought I was the most beautiful thing on the planet, and I believed every word of it.
As we should.
That's right. And about 5 years later, he came to the United States and actually came to visit me and stayed for a little while. And he was here maybe 2 weeks, probably a little less than 2 weeks. But yeah, we should have kept that as long distance. It was so much more romantic with him in Belize.
Right? You go, that's just it. You go on trips and you're feeling all the vibes of the trip and you're so relaxed and you're having more drinks and you're doing all the fun stuff. And then you come home and it's real life.
They don't call like all the women in America on your phone and, you know, when you're on the beach. There's so many more things that can happen in reality. Keep it on the sand. Keep it on the island. Don't bring them home. That's what I would tell my younger self.
Oh my gosh. So when it comes to advice, is there anything you wish someone would have gave you in your teens or 20s? Any kind of advice at that point in time you wish somebody would have given you?
Are you ready to add a little sparkle to your life? Let me introduce you to Kindred Fusion, the ultimate destination for permanent jewelry. That's right. No more worrying about clasps or losing your favorite pieces. With Kindred Fusion, you can enjoy beautiful, seamless jewelry that is as unique as you are. Imagine a stunning bracelet or necklace that feels like a second skin. Sounds amazing, right? At kindredfusion.com, you can explore a gorgeous selection of styles that fit every personality and occasion. So head on over to kindredfusion.com today and discover the magic of permanent jewelry.
Gosh, I don't know about advice. I wish that somebody just would give me a dose of more confidence. You know, I feel like I was so insecure for so long. I felt like it took me a long time to learn to love myself for exactly who I was, you know, to quit comparing myself to everyone. And everybody else's wins don't equal your losses, you know?
Well, the interesting thing about seeking advice from other people, I don't know how you feel about this, but when we have children, we want to give all the advice because we've lived the life, we've done the things, and then we're raising our kids and we're trying to like coach them to not make similar mistakes and so on, but they don't want to have nothing to do with that because our parents didn't do that either. They probably were, but we just didn't listen. So our kids are, you know, we raise them to go off and expand their, you know, their life and enjoy doing the things and explore as much as you can and keep your cup full. However, when I give advice now, they don't want to hear it. He doesn't want to. He's like, I don't want to hear that. And I'm like, okay, okay, I'll just stop talking. But
I know.
oh gosh. Yeah. And back to what you were saying about the confidence. That's a big one. They teach you in school. And if you had mentors, I think that's one of the things I probably missed in my life was having a mentor that would have said, hey, maybe think about this or think about taking a different path down here. So yeah, tell me your younger self, hey, get a mentor because it works and it helps when you're older. But nobody wants to
I think someone, like you were saying, someone other than your parent.
Yeah.
And, and I had a wild, crazy aunt that I thought was the coolest person on the planet. And it turns out I should have had a different mentor.
I'm mentoring, but not mentoring the way you think.
Right. But, going back to kids and their advice and stuff, during COVID, my kids were dying to mess with their hair. One of them wanted purple hair and the other one wanted to shave her head. Had always wanted to shave her head. And so after COVID hit and everything shut down and the school shut down, we were home, we were all trying to figure out how to live. I was like, do whatever you want. It's fine. And so we got the purple hair dye, did the peroxide. Oh my gosh. That hair dye did not come out until we cut it out. I mean, it took years to grow her hair out long enough to cut all that purple out. But it was funny because she called the other day. She's now, 22. And she called and her younger half sibling is 16. And she said, Mom, Lily's wanting to dye her hair purple. And I keep telling her, don't do it. You don't want to do it. She was, I feel like I'm a mother. She was, I sound like you. She's going to do it anyway, Mom. And that's how it feels, Abigail.
So no, there is your first clue on being a parent. Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. The don't do it scenario. It's it's funny because, when we create habits, we think the habits are from as we've gotten older, but actually we started our habits when we're quite young. And I think people don't think of it from that perspective. The younger version of myself, you don't have to be such a perfectionist. It stems from trauma and a bunch of other things, but hey, it's okay. Just be prepared for anything. Just be prepared for anything and be open because you just don't know what's going to come your way. When our kids make our decisions like dyeing your hair purple, I have friends who still dye their hair purple. I don't understand it myself, but I'm like, just do you, man. Just do it. Whatever makes you happy. The other thing too, I don't know if you ever heard this, but did you ever feel like you were too much? Like you sort of mentioned that a little bit
Yeah.
ago. Yeah.
I still wonder if they think I'm too much. It's hard to get over that.
Yeah.
I would tell my younger self to not worry about it, to be too much, be all the things.
Be all the things. Yes.
Have all the energy. You can tone it down later, but
it's one life. Like my daughter was exactly that. I'm very much a type A personality, so I can be a little much for some people sometimes. I'm very not opinionated, but I do have a voice and I'm not afraid to use it. I used to not have a voice until one day I said, I have had enough of being like not really existing in a space. So I need to figure out what that space is and what my place is in that space. And I'm okay with whatever the outcome is of that. And my daughter was very similar in the same way. She was a very non-conforming. Like when she got married, she was like, I don't want a wedding dress. I want like this polka dotted, vibrant, gorgeous, like 50s style, gorgeous dress. And I'm like, yes, it's 1000% you. Just do you. And, beautiful. And I appreciate when, because I was not that kid, I was always like, oh, I need to fit in all the time.
Yeah, so, same.
Younger self, you don't need to fit in. You can be whoever you want to be.
Yeah, I feel like my kids really take that to the next level, and I'm so proud of them. I feel like, I totally conformed. I conformed to everything. I dated a cowboy one time in junior high, I think 9th grade. And, I had Wranglers and boots and was going to rodeos. I mean, I was a complete cowgirl within like 4 days, My cowgirl phase, I think, lasted maybe 6 months. But I mean, I barrel raced like in 3 different little tiny town play dates, I think is what they're called. They're not real full-blown rodeos, but I took it to the next level. I feel like I do that with everything, but sometimes it's not always consistent. I was a skateboarder for a summer. Well, I had brothers and they were all skateboarding, and, you know, I had to wear the grunge clothes. And then I went through a whole basketball tomboy phase. I had a best friend and her name was Marcy, and her dad was the softball coach. And I did love to play softball. But yeah, I started wearing all the Michael Jordan t-shirts. I wanted Michael Jordan shoes. I had the Umbros, you know, the plastic shorts. I was a conformist. Like it was like, you know, the wind would blow and be like, okay, I'll change everything, you know, to fit in with you guys. I feel like, yeah, just as it's probably been into my 30s that I can navigate any scene and stay Charity instead of this chameleon, you know,
Right.
that changes to look like everybody in the room. I guess that comes with maturity, but I would tell my younger self, like, you can be you and hang out with different types of people. You don't have to become everything that, you know, you hang out with.
But you know, there's something to that, though. That is also trend, right? You're following kind of trend, but that's wrong, actually. That's incorrect, because yes, you are. We all do it. Like, I remember my cowboy phase. I went through it too, but I was later, like in my 20s when that happened. I need to get the tightest pants. I don't know about you, but in the rock and roll phase where it was AC/DC and Def Leppard, and, you know, you're wearing the skin type jeans that need to be zipped up with a coat hanger, and like the ridiculousness of that. Like, if my child walked out the door with pants that tight, I'd have a problem. Like, can you breathe? I don't even remember. How do you sit through class like that? Did I?
How did we? We probably had to unbutton our pants. I can remember having to lay on the bed and stretch out, you know, try to suck it all in. Yeah. And then wearing high tops. I had a pair of Guess silver high tops. They look like moon shoes, but I wore those with my washed out Guess tight ass jeans. Like, oh, I was the coolest. And then my, you know, huge bangs with a whole can of Aquanet.
Yeah.
Yeah. With Bon John Jovi posters all over my room.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a good phase.
The good phase of rock and roll. A couple years ago, I was out shopping and I bought a Def Leppard t-shirt, and I'm like, this is the best thing ever. It's now pajamas, but it's okay. I'm like, this is fine. This works. And it just sort of brings you back to that time, and the high tops, and the only thing I would say to my younger self is I think I was too focused on that part of staying trendy and staying in fashion. I got a job when I was 14. I worked at McDonald's. So my mother was, I'm not buying stuff for you. If you want those things, then you have to buy it yourself and get a job. So that's what I did. I got a job so I could pay for trendy things to wear. And yeah, if I tried now to put a pair of jeans on and zip them up on the bed, life would be very unpleasant.
Yeah. And we'd probably end up with some kind of GI deformation or something.
You're just walking around, you're like, these fit perfectly. No, they don't. And you look ridiculous.
If I could tell my younger self anything from that time period, I think I would say keep the t-shirts.
Yes.
Yeah. I went to a vintage store a while back, a resale shop, and there was a Rolling Stones t-shirt that was like $200. It was crazy. Yeah, it might have been like $175, but it was an insane amount. It was insane. And I thought, man, why did we get rid of all those band t-shirts?
You
Kiss.
said it. I saw Kiss how many times? 3 times? Yeah, 3 times. I
Poison.
And I wasn't a Poison fan. I didn't like Motley Crue at all. I saw them in concert. I was an adult by then, but you know, all the things. I don't know about you in the U.S. Did you guys have what they call here, which are called head shops? Did you ever have something like that? Probably not.
We did, but is it like, are you talking like where you buy paraphernalia? Like,
yes. You go to the shops and it's filled with all the band t-shirts and like all the things. We had a store like that, and that was the trend. The t-shirts were expensive then. And I'm thinking, now, like you were saying, if you can find the vintage, it would be, I like vintage stuff. So I'm vintage. So why not?
I do too. I get some of my best stage clothes from Salvation Army. We have a really nice Salvation Army down the street, and I love it. Yeah.
a couple of years ago, I was like, I need to wear like an army jacket. And I go to the surplus and there's some really great ones and actually in Seattle. And I'm looking for this army green jacket. And just my body tells me, hey, I really like have an army green fatigue jacket. And I have nothing to do with the military or the army, but I still wanted one. And you know why? Trend. It was on trend.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
well, here the Salvation Army is a resale shop, and I go there to look for sequins.
Oh, sequins.
Sequins.
From a disco perspective or from like just a bling perspective?
More probably just a bling perspective. I like to wear sequins on stage. So
nice.
Anything that has a little shimmer.
You got a little shim. You got a little sass going on there. Okay, so what, if you could do right now in this moment, what do you want your future self to remember about what's happening in your life now? Okay, so we're flipping the script, let's say.
Okay, so future self, remember what it's like now. Just remember how much fun I've been having. Oh my gosh, I've been living the best life this year. I don't know. I never expect it to get better, but it just keeps getting better. And to remember to take a break. You know, we've got to take care of ourselves. My gosh, April was so busy that my body just hurt, this last week from being so busy. I guess I find balance to remember that you can have fun and you can also schedule a break for yourself.
Absolutely.
And that it's healthy to schedule a break,
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope my future remembers that I was trying, like really trying, even when it's messy and you're trying, because life has gotten messy. Life has been messy for the last 8-9 years, especially after losing my daughter. Life got really messy. And then you throw some cancer in there and you go, I'm really trying. I'm just trying to keep going, just trying to exist, just trying to live my best life. So I hope that my future remembers that I really pushed hard and tried to, keep going.
That's a good one. We often don't give ourselves enough credit. I was even thinking this morning, like, you should have already had all this done. Why did you wait so long? And then I have to remind myself, you did great this week. You've worked every day. You swept the floors when you got home. You've cooked 4 dots. You're winning. You did great. And I feel like that's something I always have trouble with is counting the wins. It's like, why didn't I do more? But I like that. I like your idea of reminding yourself that you were really trying.
Well, and also too, we don't have to have it all figured out. For whatever reason, at mid-50, is there supposed to be some big, huge fireworks session that's going to go off that we've got it all figured out in life? I don't think so. I think I'm more confused in life now than I've ever been, believe it or not. I've flipped the script in the regard to I put design aside because I was sick, and then started focusing on other things to keep filling that cup. And in order for life to be worthy, chaos kind of is a part of the charm. So even though you don't have to have it always figured out, but I often say right now, I feel like Katy Perry, where I'm not quite an astronaut, but I'm floating up in space for 11 minutes and don't know what the heck to do with myself. And then they're going to come down and kiss the ground and go, I'm an astronaut. No, Katy Perry, you're not an astronaut. You're a space lady that went to space for 11 minutes. Give it a rest. An astronaut is someone who studies, who spends months up there and, all the things that go with that. But anyway, I digress. Chaos is a part of the charm of life, is it not?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I mean, it's all part of it. Well, there's no good times if there's nothing to compare it to,
Yeah.
You gotta have some time in the slumps to.
And the other thing too, like, drink water. Don't forget to drink water. My older self, do it every day. Don't forget about it. Make it a priority. It's hard to remember to do that unless your schedule is so regimented. Like, I don't know about you. How's your situation? You're out at night. You're working during the day. You're on stage. Do you remember to drink water? Because I know I don't.
I do. I have this huge cup that I take everywhere.
Oh, you got a Stanley?
Everywhere.
I'm super jealous.
Well, it's a fake Stanley. I don't care what brand it is. Really,
And that's the other future self. Don't buy a Stanley. It's ridiculous to spend $45 to $60 on a friggin' mug. Are you
Yes.
kidding?
In fact, this one I got a 2-pack and split it with my dad. I'm way too cheap. I don't ever pay that much. I do try to drink a lot of water, but I would tell my younger self definitely to drink more water and to start washing your face and put on some neck lotion. Moisturize the neck and my chest, and to cover your chest. My dermatologist told me that that's the number one place for skin cancer for women is your chest, because we wear V-necks and we wear all this stuff exposing that sensitive skin right there. And now mine's wrinkled and sun damaged and spots. And cover your chest when you're young.
That's a good one for younger self. Don't put the baby oil on and sit outside and suntan with baby oil. Don't do it. If I could tell my younger self, that would be one of them, because that was a trend too. Hey, let's get on board and we're going to burn the crap out of our skin and we'll look fine doing it.
My crazy aunt I was talking about, she would use Crisco, the big tubs of fat. She would just rub pure Crisco.
Literally dying. Are you for real? Like, she's just
I'm 100% for real.
Just cook like a turkey out in the
yeah.
What now? Crazy.
It works.
Hella stuff is that. Yeah,
she probably had very moisturized skin. It's a little leathery now, but.
Oh, wow. Bringing all the things back. I think the other thing too, I would say is to my younger self is read more. I tend to go through phases where I think I should be reading more just to keep my brain kind of going, because you know how we get through our day in, day out of life, right? I write as an author. I'm reading my own books because I'm writing them. But it's not the same as picking up something educational and like still continuing to learn, even in the smallest ways. We tend to gravitate because we're habit forming, in life, just humans are in general, because we don't like change. So when you try to change something and you're like, when people do the bucket list, I think Kira and I did a podcast on the bucket list stuff. And I go, I don't really have a bucket list anymore. But it's like just little things I think I could tune in better. So reading, read more. That's up there for me. I spent too much time listening to music. Because music was always a part of my life, but I love music. Music is always on in my home. I love it. And I'm an R&B girl, so I need all the stuff that comes with that. People are like, I'm still listening to 80s music. And I love it. I can't, my son comes and he's like, oh my God, just turn this music on. Or the salsa, because I used to compete in salsa dancing. I used to be a competitive dancer actually in Latin ballroom. So I did that for many, many years. And I miss it. I miss it so much. And I think I see it in my future again. So that's the other thing. Older self, you can still do some of those younger self things.
Oh, yeah. My grandpa passed at 94, but up until just about the time he passed, he would go dancing 3 nights a week. He would go to the VFW, the Elks Lodge, and the Moose. And, he would do the ballroom dancing, the lion dancing, all of it. All of it. Yeah. Yeah. It's probably how he lived so long.
Well, you know what? I've been to weddings before where you see the old guy, the grandpa gets up and he's still jiving. He's still doing it. I'm noticing that trend that's online right now where it's, I think, more, and maybe you can help me out with this. The Southern community is kind of doing the line dance with the country boots and the fans. It's called, I don't know what it's called. But anyway, there's it's like something, and they snap the fan and they do the kick with the bum and all the things. You got to see. It's crazy. I'm like, I should learn this. In my life, before I'm 60, I will learn how to do that dance.
Nice. I like that. I have seen a lot of those clapper fans. I think that's what they're called. Clappers. Yeah. There was a woman on TikTok or Instagram making them.
Boots on the ground. You got to look it up. It's a dance
Okay.
called Boots on the Ground. You know, the Black community, they're the ones that do it with these fans. It's so cool. I want to learn it so badly because it's a line dance. And there's this trending little girl right now. She's got to be maybe 5 doing it. And it's so cool. So back to what you were saying. Yeah. The fans. Clapping fans. Oh, God.
I think that's what they're called.
Things. Nice. So what is up for you in terms of thinking about, let's go with the next 5 years. Do you have any big plans for the next 5 years? Like anything that's like top of the list? We're not necessarily talking about a bucket list, but just something that's up there for you.
I would love to do comedy in Europe. I do want to go back to Europe or, across the pond. And then I would like to get more into a little bit of property investment. I'd like to challenge myself a little financially, big challenge, but yeah, I just want to make content and do comedy and have some passive income. And I guess I want to retire is what I'm trying to say. Not retire from working, but retired from my 8 to 5,
Right. With you want to retire in the standard stuff way, but not retire from the life stuff.
Right. I'd still have to make some money. And I still love to perform and be out there and I guess be creative. I feel like I've waited so long to express my creative side. Well, I guess because my kids are raised and I was busy. And now I'm like, who am I?
Sometimes we're not ready for it till we're ready for it. It comes up when we're ready for it. So like if something comes your way as it did for you, right, in that moment, that's when the moment it was supposed to happen for you. I'm 1000% convinced of that. I think your younger self may not have been able to handle it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely not. I was a mess. My whole life was chaos. There wasn't room for one more thing on that list.
The list of chaos. A little chaos is charm. Never forget that. One of my lifelong dreams, I've spent a lot of time overseas, actually. I have decided that because I've got some history in my career with teaching and instructional and learning and development. So I've got it on my list because I don't know what my future holds right now. I'm just going to keep pushing forward. And I'd like to teach English in another country. So I am actually considering the possibility of spending a year in Mexico and teaching English there. And
cool.
I just feel like it's, again, not a bucket list item, but something that I would like to do. So, that younger self, just don't be afraid to take some of those chances. I would love to hear from our listeners. What would you tell your younger self? Anything different? Would you warn yourself? Would you not do that hairdo? Would you not do the trend? What is something that you would tell your younger self? I think that this has been a fabulous podcast episode topic. I'm hoping to hear. So please drop us a line on If Margaritas Could Talk, or you can DM us or email. Anyway, you can reach us anywhere, Facebook, Instagram. And if you got it right, sometimes I think if we're learning as we're still aging, because you can never stop learning. I'm a really big believer in that because we're not the same people we were 10, 15 years ago. We're always changing. What did you get right, do you think, for sure?
Just keeping it funny, keeping it lighthearted, keeping a smile on my face. I feel like I helped my kids always see the light side of things, the silver linings. Life is what you make of it, And so if we are happy, our life is happy and we have choices.
Correct.
we can choose. Times are hard and we're not always happy, but we have a choice at how we want to come at things and the attitude that we want to bring to the table and how we want to look at things. And it's been challenging, but I feel like I've gotten that part right, to stay positive and to always see the silver lining eventually. Might not be right away, but
yeah, it's different perspectives. I agree with you. I think the one thing I did get right was I had a goal when I got pregnant with my daughter to be the best mom I could be. And that was because of what I came from, even though it's not just for myself. It was a goal that I took very seriously when you become a young mom and, we're raising our kids and doing all the good things. And moms out there, it's hard. Like being a mom is, there's no price. I'm sorry. There is just no price for that stuff. And even as our children become adults, it's still very hard to not want to parent them. And, we're like, okay, well, you're an adult and you're an individual and you're on your own and doing all the things, but you can't turn that mom switch off, right? So I think when you think about getting it right, that's one of the things. The other thing too is I have a lot more fear now. So when you were talking about being afraid of heights, I'm terrified of heights too. Like terrified. I can't even get on a ladder. It's crazy. My body freaks out. Dolores was what I call my body now. I'm living in third party. And so that my face and my head are Tracy, but the rest of my body is Dolores. And I refer to her as that because she's a hot mess express constantly. And I just said, I don't want to be associated with this body anymore. So I'm just going to be two people. It's too much. Anyway, oh gosh, I digress. Now, for our listeners, and be gentle with yourself. That's the other thing too, right? We're our biggest critics, and just be gentle with him or them, or that person, this version, your younger version. That's what got you here today. So be gentle. Go gentle on yourself, and for the future you.
Something I've started doing probably in the last 5-10 years, maybe, is you were talking about calling your body Dolores. I always talk to my future self, even just the smallest things. Like if I see my keys in the laundry room, I'll think, oh, you better put those in your purse for your future self. And then the next day I have my keys in my purse when I go to work and I don't have to look for them. And I thank my past self. Oh, thank you for thinking of me. And it sounds so silly, but when you do this over and over and you just have that mentality, it has transformed my daily habits. Even going to bed with the dishes or, dinner still on the stove and I need to put it up and I need to clean and I don't want to. I want to go to bed. And I literally talk to myself and do it for your future self. You'll feel so good in the morning when you get up. And so I do. And it's like treating myself all the time. And then I thank myself, and thanking yourself is like just on a whole nother level. I don't know what it does, but it's transformed my thoughts and my mental, how I take care of me. That I do things for myself all the time. And you don't think of it as that way. You think of it as chores and a negative. But when you think of it as, a treat for the future you, even just dusting, that's the only way I can dust my house. I'm going to feel so good tomorrow. Yeah. No, I hate dusting. But yeah,
So when you're purging, I'm doing this huge, massive spring purge in my house right now. And so it just feels so good when you're purging. But I agree. I love that idea. I love the idea of having that conversation with yourself about making that split moment decision, which can change the future of how you feel. That in the precipice of itself. It's very similar to what I wrote about in my book about the let me do me and break those past habits. Because in the end, you know what it does? It spikes all the things that make you feel really good about what you did. Because then otherwise, you know what? It's called procrastination. And I hate that word. It's my bone of contention. I'm the biggest procrastinator on the planet. But somehow I figure it out.
I feel like it's transformed into me loving myself.
Ooh.
Because I'm always looking out for my future self. I don't know. I feel like has really turned around how I feel about myself. And just like you said, you can control your future moods better. Maybe not control, but shape. You can shape your morning just like I get my coffee ready the night before. And I'm always happy when I can just get up and start my coffee.
It's interesting because, when we're younger, we're moms and our life is so scheduled. Everything is the same, get up the same, get the kids, make the lunches, the homework, the cooking, the grocery shopping. You do everything and there's a consistent heavy schedule. Get them to soccer, get them to dance, get them to this, da-da-da-da-da. And then there's no time for us. And then all of a sudden we get older. And then we go, now we have all the time. Our time has got to be selective. Future self, keep being selective. Keep being selective with your time and allocate your moments to yourself. Younger self, be selective, but enjoy the time that you have with your friends, because, as we grow older, those friendships starts to change. And then also when we start to get older, we start losing those friends. And I don't like to think in that kind of a mindset, but it is very real when you're in your 50s going, what does the next 10, 20 years look like? And when, people that you're close with start to pass and, those losses happen, it's a really eye-opening perspective. I don't know about you, but I've had this aha moment where I'm worried about everything now that has to do with death. It's so weird. And I'm hyper-focused on it because of cancer. I'm hyper-focused where what if this happens and now this new thing is come up? So what does that mean for me? Okay, I'm not going to worry about it. I just have to live in the moment.
Yeah. I feel like, you can tell me if you relate to this. I feel like I've had so much death that I now am just in a rush to live. And it's like, I have this pressure all the time of there's not much time left. What are we going to do? You got to do this and this. I have to remind myself, you can slow down. But I feel like it stems from death, that I'm in a hurry.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. That is where I'm at. I'm up in the air, just Katy Perry floating around, understanding that the time is not borrowed. We got serious real quick. But anyway.
We did, didn't we?
This is all about the fun stuff. We are doing great. But, at the end of the day, if you wore butterfly clips as your younger self, or you survived a toxic situation, love yourself conditionally and not just your judgment. We all have a younger version. We all have an older version of ourselves, and somewhere we carry all of it. That's how I think of it. So that, I think, kind of sums up today's episode. And Charity, it's going to be so great having you on for the next couple of weeks. For our listeners that are out there, you just want to tell us your situation and you'd like to have your name mentioned on the show, we would love to talk about it and your perspective. And so this kind of wraps it up for today's episode. Thank you so much, Charity, for joining me again today as a co-host, which we love.
Well, thank you for having me.
Keep listening and join us for more incredible content. If you have something to add, please, of course, again, drop a comment or send us a message. We would love to hear from you. So until next time, keep laughing, keep living, and remember, if life gives you lemons, you make a
margarita.
Don't forget to subscribe, like, and follow for more, or buy us a coffee on your favorite listening platform. We can also be found at www.ifmargaritascould.com, #podcastdiva. Cheers, everyone. And until next week, Charity Jones, take care and have a great Mother's Day weekend with your family.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This has been so much fun.
Bye now.